saw this unprecedented shift of basically the totality of the corporate media into Hillary Clinton's camp, into the Democratic camp, and their almost universal opposition to Donald Trump. That was the most visible indication that the ruling class was upset about Donald Trump. And what were they upset about? I said before, it was not his racism. That's been fine with the ruling class. It was his position, or what they thought was his position, or their anxiety about what his position might be on the continuation of the war policies. And we're talking about the war policies that date from 2011 with Barack Obama. Barack Obama's mission was to rebuild not just the U.S. image in the world, and he did that with his face and his charm, but actually to reposition the U.S. military to once again try to seize control of this whole energy-rich region, not just Iran, not just Syria, but to project U.S. power deep into Central Asia, and with the aim of establishing U.S. control over that area so that in a future confrontation, an inevitable confrontation with China, the rising economic power, the United States would be able to strangle or threaten to strangle China, to threaten to deny it access to that part of the world, and thereby maintain continued U.S. dominance even as U.S. economic power and other power shrinks. So this is what George Bush was up to in 2003, and he failed. He was defeated. Barack Obama's mission was to try it again, and that's what was set in motion in 2011. And it has to be understood that for the ruling class, and they spend millions and millions of dollars funding think tanks, and they have access to supercomputers, and they're not, even if they're stupid, they hire people who are not. And they see the handwriting on the wall, and they know what time that clock is ticking towards. And so they see this battle, this military mission that they're on in what we in general call the Middle East, as being part of an existential struggle. They believe that if they do not put this stranglehold on this part of the world and somehow put themselves in a position to coerce themselves into a continued dominance, that they are through, and they are probably right. And that is what propels them into war. And this feeling that they are in an existential struggle is what caused the panic and this alignment after the destabilization of the Republican Party that has created this maelstrom, this Niagara Falls of the Russians are somehow destabilizing us. It is basically simply a war cry. That's what this is about. And you are making a fundamental misreading of events if you believe that the Russians did it mania has something to do just with jockeying position for the Democratic Party to gain some kind of advantage. Of course the Democratic Party wants to gain advantage. All parties do. But that's not what the ruling class is upset about. The ruling class is intent that its United States military offensive keeps moving on. And here's something that really shocked them during Trump's campaign. When he said those words that so upset the ruling class, that, you know, we shouldn't do so much regime change. Maybe we can get along with Russia. It was expected that his constituency, his base, what we usually call middle America, which is a euphemism for white folks out there, that this group of people was the bulwark of the American pro-war party, or at least the party that could always be whipped up into a war frenzy at the drop of a hat. The people out there who have nuke 'em and just fill in the blanks as their bumper sticker. So when Donald Trump addressing exactly that cohort of people, when they did not bat an eye, when he was talking about what sounded like peaceful coexistence, and they didn't bat an eye when he was talking about stopping all this overthrowing of people for no reason, that really scared the hell out of the ruling class, and especially the national security establishment. Because if Trump's people were not wedded to war at the drop of the hat, then where is the constituency for war? And this told them a lesson, that if they wanted to keep the country at war fever, they were going to have to work at it. They were going to have to gin this up every day. They couldn't just rely upon the middle Americans that they had relied on to somehow just be ready to jump into regime change and war with Russia anytime they gave a dog whistle. They had to work at it. And now I think we can understand where the Russians are colluding with Trump and trying to wreck our democracy. And this unprecedented screaming noise every day, every hour about the Russians. You know, I'm 67 years old. I remember a piece of the McCarthy era. I remember the House Un-American Activities Committee. I remember the TV show I Led 3 Lives, which was about nefarious secret communists doing all kinds of daring things. There was never anything like the decibel level, the frequency, the insanity, the madness of this anti-Russian campaign that we hear right now. This is a sign of a ruling class in panic. We are good leftists. We're supposed to be happy because the ruling class is in panic. They acting like the fool. But panicky people with nuclear weapons and the biggest prison system in the world and all of the gadgets that they have can do some very dangerous things. So one can feel good that the rulers are disintegrating mentally, but become very scared about what that mentally deficient person might do. So we have to understand that this anti-Russian campaign is a war cry. So who's picking up the chorus on this? One of the reasons that it's so dangerous is that people who would be thought of in previous times as allies of the movement, and I think that would include folks like Maxine Waters, for example, not necessarily part of the movement, but someone who could be called upon in previous eras to be maybe of some use. And yet here we have a Maxine Waters who believes now everything that the CIA and the NSA say, and forgot that she herself back in the 90s charged that the CIA was responsible for bringing crack into LA. She's forgotten this entirely because she's singing this war song about the Russians. The whole Congressional Black Caucus has joined in this anti-Russian chorus. And we have to understand it as a pro-war chorus that is singing a war song. And for their kind of resistance, the Democratic Party's kind of resistance, the anti-Russian theme is a song of resistance. So we have to understand when they get excited and what they believe is an anthem, is actually a call to war. And this presents us with real problems. It addresses that question that I raised early on. Who are the allies and potential allies of the people, and what forces can usefully be called part of the people's movement? what forces can usefully be called part of the real resistance. If you are resisting Russian collusion with Trump, then what you are resisting is a fantasy. And if you are simply resisting Trump, the idiot in the White House, then you are simply a tool of a Democratic Party strategy, and that strategy is to gain advantage. When I say that the Democrats are now the driving engine of war, that means they are the driving engine of U.S. imperialism. And I'm also saying that they have nothing else to offer but war and imperialism. And even more so now that they have definitively become the party of the ruling class. War is not something that real movement folks should oppose just on principle because they don't like the idea of other people being killed. It's a matter of self-preservation. When the imperialists go to war and invest in war, they create corresponding structures of repression at home for those who might resist war. But when they decide that they are going to absorb all the public and private wealth of the home country, just as they have been doing with other countries all over the world with all their centuries of imperialism, then they must put another layer of repression on the existing mechanisms. So we should not see our opposition to war as just some kind of favor that we are doing to the people who are victimized by the U.S. war machine. The U.S. war machine requires that there be a corresponding repression of us here at home. That's the kind of function of the U.S. war machine that Maxine Waters has forgotten. So I think that I've taken up much more time than I've been allotted. But I also hope that it's clear that one of the things that I'm saying is that we need a rejuvenated anti-war movement in this country. And all of our movement politics must be an anti-war politics, or else we are defenseless against this kind of strategy on the part of the Democrats, who pretend that they are somehow an alternative to the fascist-sounding and definitely virulently white nationalist forces in the Republican Party, but are themselves intent on a war policy that can mean the extinction of the entire human race. So I want to give a salute before I leave to Ajamu Baraka. Ajamu Baraka is not only the former vice presidential candidate of the Green Party, but he's also an editor of Black Agenda Report. And his campaign currently is to pull together a Black Alliance for Peace, so that there is an explicitly Black anti-war mechanism. Black folks, most people don't remember that SNCC and other early civil rights organizations were opposed to U.S. imperialism and the then not so big Vietnam War before there was a large anti-war movement, and that Julian Bond was ejected from the Georgia legislature because of his resistance to the war and to the draft. And we have to resume that position as the foremost opponents of war in this whole spectrum of movement, that we're building today. So I salute Ajamu for bringing us back to where we need to be.
give a shit.
No, I would be the first one to hold his feet to the fire when he fucks up.
Why are you yelling at me?
Because I want everyone to know I got all these cameras out here. I want to make sure I'm clear.
Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes.
I have a question. Yeah. When was America
If
ever
America
great?
was great,
Excuse me, wait.
I need to stop drinking this year, right?
He's gonna fix it for you, bro. He's
Yeah,
gonna
he's right.
fix it.
He's not.
What?
No, he's
what?
not.
He's gonna clean up
take
our
care of me.
neighborhood.
He's gonna keep me clean.
Bring factories back to our neighborhood.
No, he's not.
What do you say?
His offer of work. He sends his jobs to the Dakota Access Pipeline, which is murdering indigenous people in South Dakota.
Listen,
He waits. Excuse me, I didn't finish.
He
sends his work out to China and India.
Okay.
He wants to bring back stop and frisk on a federal level, which has decimated black people, shipping them off to Rikers, murdering them by police, and that's what you support?
Okay, now hold on a second. Do you support Hillary Clinton? Do you support the Clintons? Okay, good. All right. Okay.
Not at all. I don't have to support Clinton
Good.
to hate Trump.
Good. Go ahead.
When was America ever great for black people? When we were in chains? When we were segregated? During Jim Crow? When? When we were mass incarcerated? When?
I'll let you know when. I'll tell you when, ma'am. Let me see. You're too young to understand. The Republican Party, let me explain to you. The Republican Party was the first one who told black people that they had the right to bear arms. That is very important. Now, due to the Constitution, when it comes to the Constitution, let me tell you, the Republicans are much better for us because of them, yes, they are. They're the same, right? But guess what?
For us. Let me talk. So, when were they great? When Nixon started the drug war, or when Reagan called us welfare queens, or when he was mass incarcerating us, or, who else? Like Clinton.
What did Obama do for you? All right, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly right. But I believe Trump is different.
No, he's different. He's a fucking psychopath.
With his duct tape camera, but we appreciate you, David, wherever you are, and hope that you'll get a laugh out of us today. I want to remind you again, my name is Our Lady of Perpetual PMS, the patron saint of periods and the pride of the Lower East Side. When we wrestle, we invite you to gather around and cheer and boo for your favorite characters. However, do not get in the pool with us, do not throw things with us, do not try to obstruct any of these matches. In case you missed it, we are alcoholic, middle-aged athletes in our prime, wrestling without insurance. We do not want your interference. I want to remind the wrestlers, wherever you are, hopefully you will be showing up for your next match, of the rules. This is pin-style wrestling. You have to pin someone on their back for a count of 3 to win. No shanks, no shivs, no spikes, no knives. Without further ado, I would like to call to the ring our first wrestler. Hailing all the way from Japan, she has crashed into multiple buildings on her way here, crossed continents, crossed rivers. Please give it up for GroundZero. She's still destroying buildings in her path. GroundZero, before our wonderful ring girl applies fake blood to you, I'd like to know if you have any commentary. Do you have anything to say to your opponents before you start wrestling in the ring? GroundZero, please come to the ring.
海から来たあれがダメな建物だ壊して
Translator, that's right. GroundZero is historically a woman. She lays eggs and she hails from Japan. So naturally she would speak Japanese. Great. GroundZero, please get in the ring on your knees facing me. We're going to call to the ring your opponent. Since you are so good at destroying buildings, we are hoping today that you can work your magic on your opponent. Please come to the ring, Trump Tower. It's clear the fan favorite in this crowd is GroundZero. Trump Tower, Trump Tower. Take that little anus lip tortellini face over here. Trump Tower.
Liberal media, what do you want?
Your opponent is GroundZero. Do you have anything to say? Do you have any fighting words for GroundZero today?
I'm gonna build a seawall, and Titan's gonna pay for it. We're gonna get her out of here.
I'll translate. Trump is going to build a wall to take GroundZero out. Oh, wait. Oh, the tower is out. Excuse me. We have to blow a whistle. Wait. Melania was extracted. We have Melania extracted from Trump Tower. Like remember when King Kong took Fay Ray out of the Empire State Building? That's what just happened. Here you go, Melania.
Trump Tower, do you have anything to say about that?
You can tan here. There you go.
That's all right. I can just buy another wife.
Trump can just buy another wife. Okay, before we start, this is very important. Ladies, entities, buildings, whatever you are, please get on your knees, on your back. Do not start wrestling. The pool is flaccid. Come on, guys. We need a little cheers and replay our pool. We're not wrestling in a flaccid pool today, okay? Alone, they will start wrestling with us. Okay, on your knees. Do not start wrestling until you hear the whistle blow. On your knees, back to back. Okay, on your knees, back to back. Now, Mince McVan. On the count of 3, we're gonna blow the whistle. These clowns are gonna start wrestling. Ready? Oh wait, ring girl. Beautiful ring girl. Yes, please cover them with blood. Please cover them with blood. All right, they're all bloodied up. We're gonna call for more blood later.
Save it for the match.
All right, on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's wrestle. They're locked up. They're evenly matched. That's a headlock. See, I said no choking, and they're immediately choking each other.
We haven't seen this kind of action since the G20 summit last year, I believe.
Oh, hammerlock. She got her on the down with a hammerlock immediately. Oh, it's slippery. I want to remind you guys, it's slippery in this pool. We are dealing with many handicaps.
Is that GroundZero?
PMS, ovarian cysts, alcoholism, middle-age problems.
Trump has got a reversal here.
Alopecia. Guys, are you alive? Hi, are you alive? If you're for GroundZero, I want you to make a really angry growl. Thank you, Jimmy. If you're for Trump Towers, no one would, thank you.
Looks like Trump Towers is breaking all the rules here.
Trump Towers is breaking the rules. Oh, GroundZero is putting a mighty clawed foot into the infrastructure. She already destroyed this building's infrastructure.
We've got the tail smash.
I don't know. Trump Towers was pretty weak. He didn't pay any of the contractors, the actual infrastructure of that.
Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of shitty concrete.
We're dealing with a lot of shitty concrete. I think Trump Towers is, even though there are Trump Towers everywhere, they're slowly being dismantled.
We have an attempt at a pin here, but you got to pin her the other way, Trump.
That's a body slam. Trump up.
I know you want GroundZero to piss on you,
but GroundZero, do not piss in my pool. No matter how much Trump asked you, do not piss in my pool, neither of you. Oh, she's strangling her.
Watch out.
That's it. GroundZero is mopping the floor.
I think I just saw Trump grab GroundZero in the cloaca.
In the cloaca. Trump grabbed GroundZero in the cloaca. Oh, GroundZero is pounding her fist. Oh, that's a figure 4 lock. Oh, that's a figure 4 lock.
Get Trump.
Trump Tower is exhausted, and losing the popular vote, but refuses to quit. Imagine that. She is mopping the floor. This match looks like it's tough to call.
Next time.
Oh, that looks like some kind of karate. Oh, she has her upside down. She's flipping her. She is mopping the pool. This is a tough one, guys. This is a tough one to call. I love how our ring roll is already going around with a tip. We can do that after. I love how our fans. You can tip us after. Okay. There's some punches being thrown. There's some claws. There's some cloaca.
What's the rule on a kidney punch there?
Kidney punch is all good.
Oh, I think we have a pin here. We have a pin
It looks like that's a body slam. That's not a pin. She's got a pin on. She flipped her over. She flipped her over. They look like they're exhausted and thirsty. There's a lot of fishnets flying. There's a lot of feet in the air. The pool is getting into a puddle in concrete. We got to move this pool over.
I think, yeah, the pool's sliding a little.
She's really mopping the floor with this, you know. I think Trump Tower is getting into man.
Oh, look at this, look at this.
That's a pile.
We have a pile driver.
She's punching her, she's jumping in the air. She's like a telephone pole.
Yeah.
That's a pile driver. Wow, you guys wrestling is real.
Trump Tower.
See, you're close enough to up.
Trump Tower, we have a pin.
That's a pin.
1, 2, 3. We have a winner, and it's GroundZero.
In Guam tradition, Ringboro, gorgeous and, you know, mildly brainless Ringboro.
I think Trump Tower was trying to...
Beautiful. Please provide towels to the winner and the loser.
Trying to call help from the Russians to no avail.
Let's have a very quick post-match recap about this. Trump Towers. You do not pay your contractors, you lost the popular vote, and you lost today in the ring. How does it feel?
Everybody saw I won that match. Everyone saw. The media reflects. I won by a landslide.
So you're saying these are all lies? There's a lying media here?
Well,
Yeah, that's you.
It's you. No, we're gonna see what in the next 4 years you will be dislodged and dismantled, just like the edifice of your slowly crumbling infrastructures and golf courses. Thank you, Trump Towers. Please exit the ring.
Oh, he's not a racist. You see, Donald Trump is different. We have a different politician here now. He's gonna make America great. Who sold 20% of the uranium in this country to the Russians? Donald Trump, yeah, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? Be honest with me. 20% of our uranium to the Russians, and then after 3 months they give you 20 million as a reward. She is a loser. People, you're Democrat, liberals are losers.